My Line. Brought to you by Kellogg's, the folks who bring the best to you each morning. The widest choice of cereals in the forms you like best. Yours from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, our publisher panelist, Bennett Cerf.
Miss Arlene Francis is off in Florida trying out a new show, I believe. So in her place tonight, we've got a beautiful young lady, looks like a child to me, who's new to television in this country, new, in fact, to this country. She's an English girl named Eunice Gayson. She's just come here from Lettermy Kate in England. Miss Eunice Gayson.
How do you do? And sitting on my right will be an actor who's certainly most popular with us back home in England. I'm sure he's very popular here too, as I know he is. Last year he had a big success on Broadway with Two for the Seesaw, and he's just completed a wonderful new picture, The Crowded Sky, Mr. Dana Andrews.
And on my right, one of the top lady newspaper men of the country who leaves tomorrow morning for the West Coast to cover the Finch trial, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, Mr. Tina. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And since everything is turned around tonight, I have, for the first time in the history of What's My Line, the great pleasure of introducing our incomparable moderator, John Wheatley.
And I think we ought to announce right now that there's a new comedy team, Kilgallen and Daly. We just cooked that up. We're pretty proud of it. I told Dorothy it would bring the house down. It didn't bring the house down. The house is still up, but it's a cold night, and we're glad anyway. Nice to have Miss Gayson and Mr. Andrews with us tonight. Doesn't change our objectives. We still try to give the panel a difficult time. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the show, and we'll meet our first challenger after this. And now let's meet our first contestant. Will you come in and sign in, please? Right there. Chan Wu Nam, is that right? I think it's only fair that you should all know this was rehearsed, wasn't it? Mr. Nam, it's very nice to have you with us. Where are you from, sir?
I'm from Seoul, Korea.
Seoul, Korea. Well, I think you are the first person we've had from Korea, and it's very nice to have you as a guest on What's My Line. May I present our panel, please? Panel, Mr. Nam, will you join me over here, please? Coming from faraway Korea, I wonder if you know how we keep score on this program.
Oh, yes, I do.
You do? All right. If you know how we keep score, there's nothing left to do but tell our audience in the theater and those looking in at home just exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mr. Nam is salaried, and we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Nam, welcome to the United States. And may I assume that you have nothing to do in any official capacity with the United Nations?
No.
Do you work indoors?
Sometime.
Can both men and women enjoy or profit from your services?
Can both men and women enjoy or profit from your services?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Would you say that they enjoyed them? Would you use that word?
Yeah. I think with your permission, Mr. Nam, I would say it would depend very much upon the individual and his particular relationship to Mr. Nam. Some, I'm sure, would go from him saying that they thoroughly enjoyed and profited from his services. Others might feel differently.
I see. Do you talk to the people who come to you?
Yes.
Do you give them any advice or counsel or education of any kind?
Sometimes, yes.
I would say this would be it might be one of the products or the fruits of meeting Mr. Nam when he's working.
Do you take them on one at a time?
Sometimes, yes.
You do?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
Would you have anything to do with athletics or sports, Mr. Nam?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Andrews.
I don't think it's been brought out. You are a salaried man. Do you work for a profit-making organization?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Gason.
That means, then, that you work for some government service?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to probably be in difficulty here because our government services are quite different to yours, but would you say it was a federal service?
Federal service, yes.
Then does that mean that you wear a special kind of clothing? Special kind of clothing. Do you wear?
A uniform or special clothing?
Not always, but some occasion, yes.
So the answer is yes, is it?
Yes, sometimes.
Yes. Now, this clothing, then, it's not clothing as a form of identification. If you only wear it sometimes, then it is used for a practical use. It's used as a form of protection or something, rather than as a form of identification. You understand what I mean? I hardly do, but...
I think I do, Miss Gason. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Sir.
What Miss Gason is asking, I guess, and what she was wrong on, then this clothing that you do wear is a kind of uniform, correct?
The question was, do you wear a special
Yes.
kind of clothing? We admit to the
And it is a sort of uniform.
issue, and it's worn sometimes.
Now, does this uniform denote any connection whatever with the military?
No.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have any title besides Mr.?
Yes.
Would you have anything to do with the judicial?
I just left. Well, Dorothy, that could you reframe it so that it's a large target? You know, I've had something to do with the judicial recently. I got a speeding ticket.
Okay. I will ask.
What do you mean, good, Betty?
I will just rule out something that crossed my mind. May I take it, Mr. Nam, that you are not a judge of any kind?
No.
But you may, in your work, have something to do with the law or the penal code of your country?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with a jail or prison?
Yes.
Are you an official of a prison?
No.
No. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Andrews.
You said you might have a title. Do you have attached to your name the title of doctor?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Gason.
Do you deal with the mental approach to people, would you say? Do you have a mental, how can I put this? A mental, approach to people?
Putting it neatly.
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. I mean the actual mental well-being of people.
The mental well-being. That would knock it up.
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Nam, you are not an official of the jail where you work. We've established that fact.
The
You
question
said
of
you were
Bennett,
not.
there's a presumption of fact there. It has never been determined that Mr. Nam worked in a jail. The question was, did he have something to do with the jail or the penal
And he had
code?
something to do with it, but was not an official thereof.
Right.
But he does wear a uniform. Are you in any way connected with the moral regulation of people in that prison? In a religious sense, I mean.
No.
Nope. 8 down and 2 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you in any sense a police officer?
Yes.
Mr. Nam is as relieved as we are, I think. But now there's still a small step to go, Dorothy. Mr. Nam is connected in, or is in some way a police officer, but is what?
Some kind of a special kind of a police officer. Well, he has said he's not an official of, are you an official of the police department? Are you the chief of police?
Chief of police, I think he'll accept. Won't we, Mr. Nam? Actually, Mr. Nam is superintendent, Korean National Police, but it would be this category in this country we'd call a police chief. Is appointed by the president of Korea, works for the federal government accordingly.
Well, isn't that official, John?
Beg pardon?
Isn't that official?
Yeah.
Yes, John said he was not an official of a prison.
We said he was
Bennett.
not an official of a prison, you see.
Don't be so upset.
Well, Mr. Nam, may I say how much we appreciate your giving us an evening of your Sunday here in New York City. Are you based in New York for your visit here?
No, I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Oh, that's for your civil defense.
Yes, I'm attending the Staff College of Office of Civil Defense and Mobilization at the Battle Creek.
In Battle Creek, Michigan. Yes. Well, it's very nice to have you in New York, and particularly nice to have had you on What's My Life. All right. Let's see what we can do with another challenger. Would you come in and sign in, please? Connie Clark, right? Is it Miss or Mrs. Clark? Mrs. Clark, and where are you from?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin. Nice to have you with us. May I present the panel? You know how we keep score, Mrs. Clark? Yes. All right. In that event, we'll let the audience hear and those at home know exactly what your line is. Panel, we'll tell you that Mrs. Clark is salaried, and let's begin, I think, most appropriately with Bennett, sir.
Mrs. Clark, Madison being the capital of the state of Wisconsin, also the home of the University of Wisconsin, have you anything to do with either the Capitol building or the University of Wisconsin?
Yes.
Which?
What's your answer?
Is it the university?
Yes.
Don't tell me you're a member of the faculty there.
No.
That's very good, Bennett. That's one down, 9 to go, Miss Gilgallen.
Do you work indoors mostly at the university?
Yes.
Is there any product even tangentially connected with what you do?
Yes.
Yes.
Would that product be food or beverages?
No.
No. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Andrews.
Do you have anything to do with the athletics of the university, Mrs. Clark?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Jessel.
In this job that you have, do you deal with both men and women?
Small conference.
She must know. Yes. So therefore, there is another element there. Is there also...
Two elements, men and women.
You'd be surprised. There's also something inanimate with which you deal. Is there?
Something inanimate with which we deal?
As well as
You
men and
mean
women.
singularly there is something inanimate with which...
Well, if you insist, I mean that.
No. Well, see, I just don't want to mislead you, Miss Gayson. We would have to assume that working in a university area, there would be inanimate objects involved in the normal...
Carrying out of her duties?
Yes, well, there would anybody, desks, that
They
sort
call
of
them
thing.
freshmen, I think.
May I forget that question?
Yes, you may forget
Thank
that.
you very much. Now, do you wear any kind of special clothing?
Sometimes.
Do they have to come to you for this particular service?
Do they have to come to you for this particular service? Well, I don't think there are... well, I wonder if Mr. Nam needs a new policeman in Korea. I would say here again, we have to give you an answer which you might consider a bit on the vague side.
Yes. Well, I'm a bit vague
In
myself.
the normal course of events, certainly those colleagues or others with whom Mrs. Clark works would come to her on some occasions. Is that fair enough?
Now, you'd either be here for two reasons. A, because you have rather an unusual type of job, or B, because this job is usually carried out by a member of the opposite sex. Am I anywhere near it? No?
Well, I would say of the two premises, one or the other might be accurate, yes.
Am I teaching American style?
No, not a bit. You're doing very well.
We do it differently back home. So I'm still on a sticky wicket, am I?
Yeah, still on the sticky wicket. But I know you'll hit it for sixes.
I know it's not cricket, but still. Now, the point is this job that you do, you have special qualifications for it.
Well, we like to think that Mrs. Clark has special qualifications for it, which would come with a degree of training and familiarity, yes.
I see. Am I right in thinking that you are not unique in the whole of America for doing this? I mean, there are other people who can and, in fact, do what you do?
Yes.
Would it then be something that would be confined to the framework of the life such as you live? I mean, in other words, there would be one of you in each university?
No, I don't think we would agree there would be one of Mrs. Clark in each university. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Sir.
I'm a little bit hazy from all this.
Bennett, if you'd just stopped that sentence after the word hazy, we'd have been in great shape.
Mrs. Clark, besides dealing with men and women, do you have anything whatever to do with other forms of animal life?
Yes.
The work that you do on the campus has something to do with animals?
Yes.
Are these animals there for experimental purposes?
Yes.
Do you work in one of the University of Wisconsin laboratories?
Yes, I do.
What do I have to guess? Which laboratory?
Which animal?
Which animal?
Yeah.
Is it a four-legged animal?
Yes.
Is it a very small animal?
Sometimes.
Is it very small?
It gets bigger as it gets older.
Without looking at Mr. Daly, would you tell me whether or not this is in the rat family?
Now, Bennett, stop making a monkey out of yourself. I have to flip all the cards on that. Now, you know, I tipped the beans that time. Didn't tip the beans. What did I do with the beans? I've forgotten what the phrase is. Actually, Mrs. Clark is the monkey keeper. That's what we call it. She has care of a whole colony of monkeys which are contributing, along with the university, and happily, Mrs. Clark, to the furtherance of our medical knowledge. Yes, Mr.
And they really aren't considered four-legged animals, are they? Because don't they have opposing thumbs?
I haven't been to a football game for a long time. No, I think we begged the particular issue when we admitted to the 4 legs, but if I ever got Bennett on 2 legs, we'd have been here all night. You see what I mean? Thank you, Mrs. Clark. It's very nice to have had you with us in the Jessel. We might meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which my colleagues on the panel are all blindfolded. Blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes.
Then will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? As you know, panel, in the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Dana Andrews.
Are you a member, is your profession in the entertainment world?
I'm sometimes You would call me entertainer. I don't say entertainer, but I say that I have been in some entertaining, would you say, Mr. Dilly, some entertaining things.
I would think so. Miss Gayson?
Well, obviously, from the reaction, you are extremely well known, so you must be disguising your voice. Is that right? I mean, you should be.
I am entertainer. I have many voices. I can make, not a monkey, but I can make many things.
Well, your own natural voice.
I don't hear what you say.
It's an unnatural voice.
No, I am a natural voice. I can't jump. I speak only like I speak.
And
Stop being a bitter.
if that doesn't clarify things for you, Miss Gayson, don't worry about it. It didn't for me either. Mr. Cerf.
I think I rather recognize that disguised voice.
So do I.
And I was just wondering if this disguised voice has presided in the last month over about 944 banquets.
What you say?
Well, now, this disguised voice has presided in the last month over about 944 banquets.
944.
Well, not that many, maybe, but
That
a
would
great
be many.
number of them.
I don't know what to say, that man.
Well, actually, we call him the mumbler on the panel.
He's a foreigner, huh?
Oh, a foreign guy, yes.
No, I
The
don't-
publisher, actually.
In the Inquirer, I think he made that. Don't he publish?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's Hobo News.
Hobo
He's the
News.
president, yeah.
No, I don't function for 944 times anything.
You don't.
Okay.
Maybe I eat 944 times.
Well, I would say if you ate the 944 times and didn't preside, you're an even better man than I thought you are. Am. Bennett, does that confuse you sufficiently?
Not a bit.
Not a bit. Miss Kilgallen.
Well, I think the voice is beginning to come through to me, too. May we put it this way, sir? Are you well known as a raconteur?
Raconteur?
And in
Raconteur.
great
Do you
demand, excuse me for interrupting, but I mean in great demand at testimonial dinners.
I am in great demand for nearly everything, if you must.
Well, I know that, Georgie. Can we all say it at once?
Well, I guess you can't be around 112 years and fool anybody anymore, I suppose.
Now, Miss Gayson, that was a little bit unfair to you. This man and this voice are so well known in these United States.
Indeed, to me, too. In fact, we met once in London. I think it was at the Variety Club.
That's right. I spoke
Great
at
Britain,
a luncheon to Somerset Maugham.
I
the other
met
day.
you, and I recognized your voice, even, I'm afraid.
You must have been a tiny little girl, if I'd have remembered it.
Well, this is
Well, this is just one, but I suppose they got me too quickly.
No, nobody got you too
Well,
quickly.
tell me something. Shouldn't you ask me what I'm doing here? That's what they told me you would ask.
What are you... What are you doing?
Well, I'm here. As a matter of fact, I spoke tonight at a dinner to a wonderful lady, Jenny Grosinger, who built a hospital in the Holy Land. And I'm making a luncheon speech, the Lord willing, tomorrow for Bonds for Israel. I speak at night in Los Angeles, California, for the Knights of Columbus. So I'm playing no favorites, and I may even do something for the Muslims. I don't know yet. But actually, I'm here on two purposes, and this is no plug of it. I get nothing. I have an interest in a picture called Jack the Ripper, which has nothing to do with me personally, I suppose you know. And I'm interested in engaging his services, because I'm going to make a movie with Jack Parr, based on George Cohan's great mystery play, 7 Keys to Baldpate. And it's the story of a publisher and an author, and if you recall...
George, please, will you...
Pointing to Bennett Cerf.
You were pointing at
Me
Bennett
or Dennis?
Cerf.
Yes, to play himself. It's a villain, of course.
Oh, has to be.
And as a matter of fact, I spoke to him on the phone the other night. Didn't I?
Bennett, stop blushing.
And of course, being a ham, he sent me to his agent.
I haven't told Phyllis yet. She's going to kill me.
Actually, I handled Bennett, and he just got a bad case of laryngitis, George. I don't know if we'll ever get it cleaned
Well, we're
up.
not making the picture until August. I'm sure we can make a deal with him. If not, we'll get an actor to play him.
Good idea.
Sid Luft, I thought I'd get.
George, thanks so much for being
I'm
our
so
guest.
happy to be
Lovely
here.
to
So
have
happy
you
to-
with us in What's My Line.
Thank
You
you.
say good night. And we'll be back after this word from our alternate sponsor. To have you, Miss Gayson and Mr. Andrews, and thank you and good night, Miss Kilgillen.
Good night, Tom. Good night, Dana. Come again soon.
Dorothy.
And Miss Kaysen, too.
See you in L.A.
Say good night, somebody.
Oh, well, good night to you. I'm so surprised it's over.
Good night, Arlene. Good night, John.
Good night, Bennett. And we'll not be with you next week because of a special preemption. We'll see you the week after. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line? Brought to you by Kellogg's, the folks who bring the best to you each morning. The widest choice of cereals in the forms you like best. Yours from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. Now, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now a young man affectionately known by all of you who will debut a new series called Overland Trials on another network on February 7th, Mr. William Bendix.
It's Overland Trail.
I know, we've just been talking about the Finch murder and I got it mixed up. Overland Trail, not trial.
Thank you. And now a young lady who is jetting back and forth every week, covering that sensational trial in Los Angeles and doing a magnificent job, Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to say that it's worth traveling 3,000 miles to come back to our publisher panelist, Bennett Cerf.
And here's our dauntless panel moderator, one might say our Overland Trial, Dr. John Charles Daly.
Well, glad the defendants have all been heard from. Meeting will please come to order. We'll be up to our usual tricks with the panel, and we'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the program. We'll meet our first challenger after this. Let's meet our first challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please? Evelyn, I, Frank E. Evelyn, I, Frank.
Is it Miss or Mrs. Frankie?
Miss.
Miss Frankie, where are you from?
West Babylon, Long Island.
West Babylon?
That's right.
Long Island. Oh, well, you're practically a neighbor. I'm sure that our panel members are all familiar, too. Miss Frankie, the panel. Would you join me over here, please? Tell me, Miss Frankie, do you know how we keep score?
Yes, I do.
If you know how we keep score, we'll let the audience here in the theater and those who are looking in at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we will tell you that Miss Frankie is self-employed, and let's begin the general questioning with